with her paintings.
Alice thought back to the many sessions where the Hatter, drifting in and out of reality, would teach her the millinery trade. He always greeted her warmly, but often as Catherinette. "My name is Alice," she would correct him, "A-L-I-C-E. Lice? Bugs are not allowed in the studio," he'd exclaim. "Bad for the hats, you know. You can't sell hats with holes, especially whole ones." "Shako, snap!" the Hare screeched, jolting her from her memory. The business was one thing, but learning to deal with the March Hare on a regular basis was really testing Alice's patience. "We have orders to fill. Enough slouching." She grabbed a block off the shelf and turned back to the Hare. "You snood over there when you should peek, pile, plush, and flanking." Focusing on the business kept her from missing her friend. They had not talked much after he started hanging out with those characters. That know-it-all bear mama, that paranoid snake who was always afraid somebody was going to step on his tail, and that eagle, he was such a bully. So, in fact, the more she thought about it, her recent interactions around Wonderland, the more she realized how many fights were breaking out amongst former friends. Wonderland used to be such a peaceful place. Absurd, yes. But a young girl could wander around alone without too much worry. Well, except for that Queen of Hearts who is always trying to off people's heads. Speaking of, since Alice had moved to Wonderland, she had heard quite a few stories about how the Queen had come to have such an obsession with necks. Some said it was a fling with a flamingo when she was a young woman, and others said it was a darker problem. What do they call it? Autoerotic asphyxia, something. I don't know. But Alice thought about the other queens, and then realized they too seemed to take actions that were against the best interests of the inhabitants of Wonderland. The Queen of Spades was known to steal from the poor at knife point, feeding her greed. And the Queen of Clubs went around knocking people on the head so she could claim that she was the smartest. Alice asked her friend Lily about this trend among the queens, since her mother was the White Queen. Lily was a bit younger than Alice, but so worldly, even for growing up in the seclusion of Wonderland. She headed the volunteer organization Humans for Hedgehog Rights, stopping the cruel use of hedgehogs as croquet balls. Lily would just roll her eyes. "Oh, Alice. They are too preoccupied with increasing their power to care about the happenings and creatures of Wonderland. They will start a fight about anything to distract us from the real problems. The more mundane, the better." "What do you mean?" "Well," Lily continued, "they created the debate on when and where you can wish a person a happy young birthday. And you heard what they did to the caterpillar." "Oh, what?" "They said he was a menace to society because of his hookah. They took him, mushrooms, tea set and all, and placed him in a glass cell. They claimed it would make Wonderland a safer place, yet they let the carpenter and the walrus run free after what they did to those poor little oysters." The worst one, even nastier than the Red Queen, is the Queen of Diamonds. She has taken over large areas of Wonderland with for her diamond mines. Her workers have been turning up sick, and she won't change policies to help them. She could change the conditions in the mines to make it safer, but it's all about profits and diamonds. The poor workers just want a good life for their families. "Why don't the Wonderlanders do anything about it?" Alice asked. "Well, I don't know. I guess for various reasons," Lily replied. "Some are doing well, and sometimes it's just overwhelming to complete the daily activities. Others are too afraid to act, while others are too enraged to know where to start. You need to get back out into Wonderland, Alice. Things have changed since you were a little girl." The next day, Alice let the Hare know he was temporarily in charge of the shop, packed her bag, left her little home, and ventured back into Wonderland. She soon came across a little bear sitting by himself, staring blankly in front of him. "What's up, little guy?" Alice greeted him warmly. He glanced upward and asked, "Is the correct answer the sky or clouds?" No, silly. I'm just," Alice began to explain, but the cub became desperate. "I will fail if I do not have the correct answer. Please give it to me." "Stop upsetting the kid." Alice turned around to find the Red Knight standing way too close, chewing on a leg of lamb, which seemed to be in, well, quite a bit of pain. "Why are you eating Mr. Mutton?" Alice demanded. "Don't tell me what to eat. I will eat whatever I want." He grabbed a limb from a nearby tree and began chewing. "I don't think that's very good for you," Alice yelled back as she hurried down the path, hoping to get as far away from them as possible. As she ran, she noticed tiny wars were breaking out amongst the Wonderlanders, and how the rocks were covered in what appeared to be toxic slime. It was horrifying to witness this chaos, and it made Alice run faster until she heard, "If you run like that, you'll miss the show!" Wasp was one of Wonderland's biggest pop stars. Everyone wanted to meet him or be him. He began singing into what at first Alice thought was a microphone, but soon realized was a mirror. He was hypnotic, flowing golden waves that lulled Alice into a trance. "Remember what the dormouse said!" Wasp's voice built in intensity. She had forgotten everything the dormouse had told her until that moment when the memories flooded back. He told her that the flowers could no longer talk because the smog had burned their vocal cords. The fish and the frog footmen had been some of the first casualties, but it did not stop the diamond mines from dumping their waste into the rivers. He also told her how the oceans were filling up with trash and destroying the natural habitats and making the crabs and oysters sick. All silly stories, she had thought, just like the girls who lived at the bottom of the well and lived in treacle, but this was real. How could she forget everything he had told her? She remembered thinking he was exaggerating and paranoid. She had a business to run and did not have time for his silly stories. She also realized she had not seen him in months. Terrified by her realization, she started running again. "Don't you want an encore?" the wasp called after her. Alice found herself at the shoreline. Her bird friends from childhood lay dead around her feet, and the waters were covered in an oily goo. She noticed an egg bobbing in the water, and without hesitation, she dove in. Egg cradled in her arms, she pulled herself back into the shore. "Oh, dear little egg," Alice sobbed. "Things have got to change, and that change begins with you."